Hello, everyone. It's good to see you again, even though I can't really see you, but I'm imagining seeing you. I'm so happy that you have joined me again for this week's recording. So the name of the blog this week is called Thoughts, Emotions, Feelings, and Creativity. Now this blog idea came to me this morning during my pre-dawn meditation. And at first, I kind of resisted it because it just seemed like old news and a topic most people have studied, contemplated, and even experimented with. There have been more than a few books written on the topic, like The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. These are a couple of old ones. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And You'll See It When You Believe It by Wayne Dyer. However, when my team of light wants something done, I know there's a good reason. They're usually spot on about the importance of discussing something in the present moment. So perhaps one of you out there reading this really needs to either hear this for the first time or just be reminded of it. That's usually the way spirit works. Some very unique things about humans are that they think thoughts, they have feelings and emotions. So what's the difference between a feeling and an emotion? While emotions are associated with bodily reactions that are activated through neurotransmitters and hormones released by the brain. Feelings are the conscious experience of emotional reaction. So you have this physical bodily reaction, and then following that, you have feelings. Generally, both, though different, are interchangeable for most people, and usually, but not always, they're preceded by a thought. Our ability to think is a great gift given to us by God in order for us to share along with our Creator in the wonder of His creative nature. I once heard a meditation teacher ask this question: what is a thought? Not the content of the thought, but just the thought itself. And he continued to answer the question and said, a thought is little more than nothing. Well, my inquisitive mind was not quelled by that notion. In fact, it gave rise to an intense need to push back and say, he was wrong. Thoughts are powerful, right? They are energy, and energy is the substance by which all things are created. Most of us believe this is true to one degree or another. Interestingly, however, there are some who have given little mind space to the power of thought, and the absence of that query is simply fine for them. I sometimes envy people like that. They're a rare breed who seem to have truly embraced and understand the frivolity and the danger of allowing the ego mind with this incessant mindless thinking to control our lives. They allow thoughts to just come and go in their lives like wispy clouds floating across a clear blue sky. They live, for the most part, completely focused on the world around them and remain firmly rooted in the present moment. The difference between those wise humans is that none of their thoughts, especially the disturbing ones, take hold and twist their minds into a jumbled up, incoherent quagmire. Unfortunately, I think they may be the exception rather than the rule, and we can all learn much from them. So let us revisit that statement that thoughts are little more than nothing. After some contemplation, I realized that my meditation teacher was right, sort of. A thought is little more than nothing if there is no strong emotion that is evoked by the content of the thought. So let's think about now a conflict that we have had or are having in our lives at this moment. Does that evoke a physical reaction and bring up feelings of anger or resentment, fear, sorrow, self-pity, or any other negative emotions? Now think about a pleasant experience like falling in love or landing your dream job. What kinds of emotions and feelings arise from that? Perhaps falling in love makes us feel light and giddy with fluttery butterflies in our stomach when we think of being loved by someone. Our dream job brings up emotions of excitement and feelings of pride, triumph, and success. The stronger the emotion attached to the thought, the more power that thought has in its ability to impact our life. Not all experiences have lasting and long-term effects on our lives. A good amount of them will most likely have an intense influence for a relatively short time. If a conflict, for example, is resolved satisfactorily for us, we'll most likely give the experience little thought again. And those intense negative feelings will most likely fade into the background of our lives. In that case, the impact was short-lived and of little consequence. If falling in love and landing our dream job eventually lead to enduring feelings of contentment and satisfaction, the initial experience will have a positive and lasting effect. However, sometimes experiences, especially negative or traumatic ones, will have a much larger and long-lasting impact on our lives. If, for example, we continue to bring situations into our lives that are through our constant thoughts about other people, maybe always trying to take advantage of us, that will probably create a life filled with endless anger, frustration, and pain. Our constant negative and fearful thoughts, fueled by intense emotions and feelings, will just may draw into our lives the very things we fear. That is the law of manifestation. If blissfully falling head over heels in love helped us to assuage our prolonged and persistent feelings of emptiness and loneliness, at least for a little while, we'll most likely eventually end up being disappointed or disillusioned, because we can't fill all of that emptiness with anyone else. So there's a good chance when the headiness and rapture of falling in love naturally progresses to a more comfortable, calm place and life becomes predictable and routine, those endless negative feelings may very well return. Along with those feelings, the painful and destructive thoughts may return too. And together, they will play off each other, keeping us in a constant cycle of negative thoughts, painful emotions, and then back to negative thoughts again. And this, in this particular situation with relationships, may cause us to jump from one relationship to another, always seeking and longing for something that can never be found outside of us. That something is simply peace, and that only exists in the temple of our soul's light, deep within our hearts, which is where the soul resides. So what's the solution to being in control of our thoughts, and that are almost always generated by the ego mind, so that we can create a life of joy and peace? Well, first, we need to be aware and conscious all the time of what our ego mind is thinking by checking in on a regular basis. Just what's happening up here? And if we catch ourselves if we catch our emotionally charged thoughts in the act of negative creativity, we can self-correct and replace that thought with a positive one. A sip of water. For example, if we're saying, no one ever sticks by me for too long, they always leave my life, and then I'm all alone, as always. Boom. Those explosive thoughts are and most likely they have powerful emotions and feelings attached to them. If they become habitual, those thoughts, they have the power to draw into our lives people and situations that line up with those thoughts, and most likely create a life of loneliness and disappointment. So what's the antidote? Well, we can replace those thoughts with something like, I only attract people into my life who see the beauty and light within me. Once they come into my life for a moment or a lifetime, they treat me with love and kindness, simply because I always treat myself with love, kindness, and compassion as well. Herein lies the X factor for creating the life we want. The X factor is love. As I have said many times, everything we see outside of us exists within us. If we look around our lives and we don't like what we see, it may be time to self-reflect, self-correct, remember how much we are loved by God, and then fill ourselves up with abundant self-love. Love is all that is real and all there really is. Everything else is an illusion. The answer to creating the life we want is to rein in and silence our snarky ego mind and fill our thoughts with positivity, gratitude, hope, and faith. Then we can go out into the world and sprinkle our soul's love wherever we go and watch joyfully as that same love miraculously filters gently back into our lives. So I hope you enjoyed this. I don't have much more time this week because I'm very busy doing a lot of other things, but I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you will join me again next week. Thank you so much for being here, and namaste.